Okay guys, today we're going to go over our assignment in Photoshop. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a new page. So File, New. Now for this document, we want it to be a width of 11 inches and a height of 17. Okay, orientation portrait, so it's nice up and down just like a poster. And we're going to create. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer. Okay, so I always have a nice clean black background to work on. So what I would like to do now is I'm going to bring in some of my pictures because remember for this assignment you need to incorporate some of your own pictures. So I'm going to go to File, Open. Okay, and I am going to open up so you guys can see. Actually mine are in download still, but hopefully yours are in your drive. And I'm going to open up the pictures that I took at the museum. Okay, and if you see up at the top, you can tell that they opened up in these multiple tabs. So for me, I'm going to just grab a couple of these pictures, and I'm only going to grab what I want. So if I just want this section and not the whole thing, I'm going to use my rectangular marquee tool to cut myself out a box. I'm going to press Control C, or you can go up here to Edit, Copy, go back to my original, and press Control V. Now, do you see how big it is? We need to transform this back down. So you can go up here to Edit Transform or Free Transform, which is also Control T. Okay, then I'm going to hold Shift. Holding Shift is extremely important because what that's going to let me do is keep my proportions the same. If you don't hold Shift, you're going to stretch everybody out and make them wonky. We don't want that. Okay, so there's my first picture. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is just kind of move it around to where I want it. We can always change this later by simply pressing Control T again, making it bigger or smaller, turning it, whatever we need to do. Okay, so there's my first picture. And I'm just going to show you a couple fun things to do to it. So if you click over here on your layer, okay, you can add a stroke to it. So we can put like a black background around your object, or we can change it to a different color, or the size, we can make it bigger or smaller. Another really cool thing you can do is you could add a drop shadow. And if you come down here, you can play with like how big that drop shadow is, which way it's angled, how big the spread is, the size of it. You have all of these options to play with these drop shadows. Okay, so that's a good way to kind of pull your pictures up from the page. Okay, now let's talk about text. Now, this is your text tool. You have your horizontal and vertical. So I'm just going to stick to my horizontal. And I'm going to create a box. Now from this box, up here, I can change all of my sizes, all of my, is it bold, is it regular? Here I can change the warp. If you go here, you've got a whole panel you can do it from. So this little file folder can pop out and give you everything you need right here. So I can do arts. Okay, and now I kind of want to actually, what? Let's do this again. Let's click on this box. I'm going to highlight them, and I'm going to go through my list until I find something I like. Okay, so maybe I like this one. I'm going to press OK. And then I can like adjust the size. Maybe I want it a lot bigger than this. Let's do 200 and see what that looks like. Obviously that is too big, especially since if you look here, I have this setting set to 72 when it's supposed to be at 200. But I can always change this up or down to control how close together and how far apart my letters are. And I can keep playing with this. here I can change how tall my letters are. So what if I only want them 50%? I want to squish them down. I've got that option. Or if I want them 150%, making them really tall, I've got that option as well. Okay, so here's just some really cool things. Same thing with making them wider. Under 50%, it's going to make them a lot wider. 50% is going to make them a lot closer together. So I've got tons of different options. These here will help you make them italic, will help you make them all capitals or capitals and then smaller capitals. If you want them underlined, if you want them struck through, you've got all of these different options bold. Okay, so these are all super, super fun to play with. And I can go back here and say, you know what, I don't like that font. I'm going to try some other ones until I am happy. Okay, we'll just stick with that one. Now, you have the same option here for your blending mode. So you can come click on that layer, and give that a drop shadow. Or maybe give that an color overlay, or we've got an outer glow, so you can make them glow if they're glowing white right now, so that's not really helpful. Maybe you can see how they're glowing red around the edges right now, and I can make that black very easily. It might be a little easier to see. My opacity's down. So there you go. Okay, so I have a lot of really cool options to play with. Now, this is an advertisement, so some things you might need to do is do some more text. Like I could highlight their educational program. Let's fix that guy. We're going to delete that layer. Grab my text tool. And before I start typing, because it's set really, really big still, I'm going to come down. And maybe I'm going to highlight their educational program. Okay, so then I can grab my move tool. I can start moving some things around. I'm highlighting their educational programs. And then here is where I'll be adding my information on the educational programs. Okay. Let's actually use our text tool. Let's change all of this. Let's make it smaller. Okay, I can change the sizes, but basically that whole area would then become, my text box. Now, if white isn't the color you want for your background, I'm just going to delete this because it's kind of distracting right now. If white's not the color you want for your background, okay, you can always use the paint bucket tool. Scroll down, create a new layer. Let's drag it underneath our picture. So you've got a blank layer. And I can then use the paint bucket tool to turn this whatever color I want. Now, you want this to be legitimate. So what I suggest you do is do some research and see what colors the Art Institute uses. For me, a lot of the times I see maroon. So I'm going to go back and make like my colors and my strokes and all that fun stuff maroon. So it's actually a professional advertisement. So you're going to be bouncing back from your design to the Art Institute's website because you want to make it true to their style. And they have a very modern style. Clean lines, basic colors, basic fonts. Like this font I think is a little too fancy for them, so it doesn't look very professional. Okay, so what can you do to make your advertisement stand out? So let me just take a quick look. Okay, like this is our group. So maybe I cut our group out and stick them on the bottom. Okay, I don't need all of this picture. I can get rid of some of the background. Okay, maybe I'm highlighting the different places in the museum. Maybe I'm highlighting museum architecture. Maybe I'm highlighting all the fun stuff that the students can do in the museum. Okay, and I would add this here. Along with that, I would add the information, like how do I get a hold of the Art Institute? How do I contact them to get involved in their programs? What's their website? That would all go on a poster. Maybe these posters are posters I'm sending out to art teachers all over the state to encourage them to visit the Art Institute. You need to figure out what your angle is. What are you advertising? Maybe they're having a late night gala. Maybe, okay, they're doing a special talk with an artist. Okay, so make sure you highlight those things. Hopefully that answered all your questions. Good luck.